Good Monday morning, South Carolina weather watchers. I'm your host for South Carolina Weather, Jess Peterson, and let's talk about the weather for your Monday. Now, looking at the radar right now, we do have some rain going on down here instead of like Beaufort. I'm going down in the Hilton Head Island, South Carolina as well. Maybe some isolated showers going through the just to the south of the Walterboro region, Georgetown, receiving some showers as well, some very light showers. Right now, again, just pretty much just bringing some very showery conditions unless you're down here inside of like the Hilton Head Island region where we're receiving most of that rainfall. You're starting to get some steady rainfall now because even if we go down, you can start to see all this rain down here. That's going to start to push kind of like this way and kind of like a bit more northern though. So like this top part right here is going to stretch all the way up here and then it's going to stall out here, as you know, and then it's going to push back upwards. So that's why we're watching for that excessive rainfall, which we do have some news in terms of that. So I actually will show you guys that in just a second. But we also do have a special marine warning. I did want to show this for portions of off the coast from Savannah, and it's because of water spouts and strong winds. And actually, there is a chance for tornadoes today. I talked about it earlier this morning and when I was up around 1 to 2 o'clock in the morning. If you guys saw that video or not, I was just talking about that. And as that tornado threat moves on, you can already see that if this was over land, this probably could have potentially been a tornado warning. I mean, it could have. But right now, we only have a tornado watch that stretches all the way up towards like Savannah. And honestly, it probably will stretch a bit more to the north and east inside the low country of South Carolina. Is probably where we'll have a tornado watch at later. I mean, it's possible. I'm not going to say that it's expected, but I do think that it is possible to get a tornado watch for the low country of South Carolina later today. And then flood watches spread throughout the state. Let's talk about what's going on inside the entire United States. With all of this happening down here inside the southeast, obviously with the hurricane, tropical storm, flooding going on, storm surge, all that kind of stuff. We do have some rain just off the coast of the east as well. Flood watches in effect for eastern portions of Pennsylvania. Also, New Jersey is also included in some. Flood watches going up for parts of Minnesota and Wisconsin. And some storms up here just near the Pacific Northwest. Rain going all the way up through the North and South Dakota region, and some severe weather going on near Chicago right now as well. Getting winds 60 miles an hour going up through that region right now, and then some rain down here inside of Arizona. So now let's go and let's talk about cloud cover. Cloud cover right now, obviously, with tropical storm or Hurricane Debbie right here. It's pretty much going to cover the entire state with cloud cover. The only place right now that might not be covered with cloud cover is the upstate, but the upstate's not going to get hit that bad in terms of this storm. So right now, really just looking for just cloud cover for mostly everybody. Here is our cloud cover total percentage as we move through like the next 18 or so hours, and you can see as we get from around 10 or so hours from now, that cloud cover is really going to just pick up, and pretty much everyone will be covered by clouds going through the next couple of hours. Here is our current temperature: 75 in Columbia, 75 in Charleston, 79 in Savannah, Hilton Head Island, 75 inside of Beaufort, Myrtle Beach, 73 Greenville, Spartanburg, Anderson, Rock Hill, Bennettsville, Sumter, Florence, 75 in Orangeburg, Moncks Corner. So you're either 75 or 73, or if you're down there in Savannah, 79, or close to Savannah, 79, but also 77 inside of Augusta as well. High temperatures for today, Monday, August the 5th, shows around 83 in Columbia, 82 in Charleston, 80 in Savannah, 80 inside of Moncks Corner, 82 in Hilton Head Island, Myrtle Beach, 87 in Rock Hill, 87 in Spartanburg, 88 in Greenville, 89 in Anderson, 81 in Sumter, 83 in Florence, and then 80 in Moncks Corner, 81 Georgetown, and 79 instead of Walterboro Barnwell as well. So not really too much of an increase in terms of high temperatures unless you're in the upstate. The upstate, the temperatures will rise a bit more. But if you're down like low country, Midlands, PD region, South Carolina, temperatures really aren't going to rise that much. Here is our peak sustained winds. Peak sustained winds will try to increase today, around 10 in Columbia, Orangeburg, 14 at Aiken, 12 Barnwell, 10 at Greenville, 13 Anderson, 18 at Hilton Head Island, 14 at Charleston, 7 Moncks Corner, 10 Walterboro, Georgetown, 13 Myrtle Beach, 7 King Street, 8 in Winsboro, Camden, Sumter, Florence, Shaw, 9 at Dillon. So those winds are especially going to try and peak, especially down there near the Hilton Head Island regions. And then in terms of peak wind gust will be around 17 Columbia, 22 at Charleston, 30 at Hilton Head Island, 22 Aiken, 21 inside of Barnwell, 22 inside of Anderson, 20 in Myrtle Beach, 16 Georgetown, and 13 Rock Hill, Spartanburg, places like that. So again, wind gusts are going to try to gust up to 30 to 35 miles an hour near like the Hilton Head Island region. So that's probably where our peak winds will be at. And in terms of precipitation, this is the thing that we're watching for the most, obviously, with 6 to 8 inches of rain possible in Hilton Head Island. Maybe even isolated 8 to 9 inches is possible. 4 to 6 inches is possible for like Walterboro, Charleston. 3 to 4 inches of rain is possible going from all the way from like I'd say from the Ridgeville, Somerville regions around there. 2 to 3 inches in Moncks Corner. 1.5 to 2 inches possible in Georgetown. 2 to 3 inches in Barnwell. 1 to 1.5 inches possible in Orangeburg, King Street, Myrtle Beach. Half an inch to an inch possible inside of Aiken, Sumter, Columbia, and then quarter of an inch to a half an inch in Camden, Florence, and Dillon. Shiraz also has a tenth of an inch to a quarter of an inch. Same thing with Winsboro, Newbury, and Greenwood. And then everyone else up there in the upstate, a hundredth of an inch to a tenth of an inch for Greenville, Spartanburg, Rock Hill, Anderson, and Lawrence. So again, pretty much it kind of like a gradient cut, and just has like these specific cuts in it that pretty much shows if you're past this line, this is how much rain you're going to get. Now, obviously, that's probably not going to happen. It's not going to be that perfect, but it's possible. Honestly, it's possible. Here's our storm prediction center for today. You can see that we do have that slight risk of severe weather in terms of, again, mainly the low country of South Carolina going up towards Georgetown as well, and up towards Williamsburg as well. So that's what I'm saying, a slight risk of severe weather in terms of tornadoes and a tornado watch. Honestly, in my opinion, usually they issue tornado watch if you have a 5% risk of tornadoes. And right now there is tornado watches inside of Savannah right now. So honestly, what's stopping them from coming up into the low country of South Carolina as well? A 2% risk surrounds that as well, going from Myrtle Beach all the way through Orangeburg down towards Allendale as well. And that's pretty much it in terms of the day one outlook for today. Watch out for some tornadoes. And here's our weather prediction center. We are under a high risk of excessive rainfall. Again, you have to take this serious. This could be as bad as a high risk of severe weather. So a high risk of excessive rainfall, catastrophic flooding in some cases are possible. And mainly, I think this is mainly going to happen going into tonight. Tonight is really when this catastrophic flooding is possible. Again, this is going into like the Allendale regions, Hilton Head Island, Beaufort, kind of like coastal Colleton counties as well. And then I know the high risk is mainly the outline, and I think then those people really need to be paying attention if they're in a low flood prone area. But the moderate risk as well goes all the way from Charleston through the entire Tri-County of South Carolina up into like southern Orangeburg County, going up close towards Augusta. I don't think it quite makes it there though. We have a slight risk that goes from Myrtle Beach all the way through pretty much Columbia over towards Augusta, and then a marginal risk that surrounds that goes all the way over towards like Florence and places like that. Everyone else is just the side of a no risk for excessive rainfall. So again, everyone pretty much from the very southern tip of South Carolina all the way up, I'd say towards like the Florence, kind of just to the south of Rock Hill regions need to be paying attention in terms of excessive rainfall because this is the excessive rainfall that you do not want to mess with, especially since it's a high risk. And then here is a 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook. There's Debbie right there, and then we also have another area of interest that we're watching as well. But here's Debbie right here, 75 miles per hour, Category 1 hurricane. Potentially historic heavy rainfall across southeast Georgia and the coastal plains of South Carolina through Saturday morning will likely result in areas of catastrophic flooding. Heavy rainfall will likely result in considerable flooding impacts from portions of central and northern Florida and across portions of central and northeast North Carolina through Saturday morning. There is a danger of life-threatening storm surge along portions of the Gulf Coast of Florida, with 6 to 10 feet of inundation above ground level expected somewhere between I tried to pronounce that last night. I probably completely got it wrong. Um, the I'm just gonna say the O River to the Yankeetown through the morning. Residents in the storm surge warning areas should follow any advice given by local officials. Hurricane conditions are expected this morning along portions of Florida Big Bend region where a hurricane warning is in effect. Tropical storm conditions are expected to continue for several more hours farther south within the tropical storm warning area along Florida's west coast, including the Tampa Bay area. Dangerous storm surge and wind impacts are expected along portions of the southeastern United States coast, from the northeastern Florida to North Carolina through the middle of the week, and storm surge warnings and tropical storm watches and warnings are in effect for the portions of these areas. So, that was a long read, but pretty much everything I was saying, pretty much they said there. Historic rainfall is possible where we are, especially inside the coastal regions as well. Historic rainfall, 10 to 20 inches, are possible for some people over the next couple of days. And that's why we have these high risk of severe weather, high risk of excessive rainfall in effect. So let's go. Now let's talk about the models now. But first, let's talk about just the short-term model. Let's go to the HRRR. And this goes around 20 hours out, so we'll talk about this one. Let's go to composite reflectivity. And as you push this forward, here's what it could look like at around 2 o'clock. Showers, storms pushing through the Barnwell, Orangeburg, Moncks Corner, Georgetown regions. And just that steady rain will continue. And it will really start when we get to around 10 to 11 o'clock tonight. This way it could look like at 9 o'clock when I start my live recording at around 9 o'clock. And that will just continue to push up northward. And that's around 20 or so hours from now. And you can really start to see the kind of just like the eye. You can see the eye right here. You can see the just heavy amounts of rain that is pushing and forcing up into South Carolina. And in terms of total precipitation for how much rain is going to fall for from now until 4 o'clock in the morning, around 4 to 5 inches in Beaufort, maybe around 2 to 3 inches in Charleston, maybe even 2 to 3 inches in Moncks Corner. Up here in Ridgeville, around 3 to 4 inches. Orangeburg, about close to an inch. Myrtle Beach, around an inch. Conway, around just close to an inch. Georgetown, getting to 1 to 2 inches. So again, very heavy rain will continue to push as we get through around the 20th hour or so. So that's pretty much everything in terms of the rainfall. But that's that. Let's go and let's talk about the models and just seeing what they show in terms of rain as well. Here's just what it could look like right here. So right now we're gonna go through this pretty fast because it is a morning update. But as you push it forward, the GFS has this thing going off, doing a little bit of a re-strengthening period as it hangs off the Atlantic, and it's gonna try and make landfall in Georgia again, and then it's going to try, and I know I'm at like yesterday, it actually tried to like turn around, go back towards Florida, hit Florida a second time, and then go back up towards South Carolina again. So honestly, I don't know what was going on there, but it's not showing that anymore. Right now, it just has it re-strengthening, going back and hitting Georgia for a second time. But it would still bring South Carolina definitely dangerous flooding conditions either way. And then as that pushes forward, we go through there. We're not talking about everything. We're just talking about this storm system. As we push the European model forward, the European has this thing going off, doing a little re-strengthening period and making landfall in like the Myrtle Beach regions as we go into around like August the 8th, maybe August the 9th as well. So I definitely need to be watching in the Myrtle Beach region for some re-strength, for some maybe like hurricane landfall. I mean, it's definitely not out of the question that Myrtle Beach could receive strong tropical storm, weak hurricane as we move through the next couple of days towards Thursday. And then let's move on to the icon, which the icon is the strongest one. The icon kind of has it moving off the coast, getting around a 982, so it strengthens up to a hurricane just off the coast of South Carolina, and then makes landfall maybe close to like a category 3, probably a category 2 into Myrtle Beach region. So if I was inside like the Myrtle Beach region, Georgetown region, even like the border of South Carolina, North Carolina, I'd be watching this thing very closely because it could try to come back and become a hurricane instead of just a tropical storm. So it might, some models are just saying that it might hit South Carolina worse than it hit Florida up there for the Myrtle Beach region. So if it hits at a category 2, it will hit South Carolina harder than it did hit Florida because Florida was only a category 1. So if it does hit as a category 2, it will hit South Carolina harder than it did Florida. So again, just a lot of questions that we have to answer. But you can also look at the Ventusky model. It's pretty much right here. Pretty much just shows the wind gust in terms of like the next couple of hours or so. And we're gonna go to wind speed. Move back over here towards South Carolina. And it just as you move through, let's go to like Wednesday for example. Just heavy winds off the coast. And then as you push it maybe even into gust as well, see gusts of up to 80 to 90 miles an hour, gusts of up to 40 miles an hour inland. And then as you continue to push it forward, gusts will continue to rise around 40 to 50 miles an hour in Myrtle Beach. Charleston as well. Charleston starts to get 50 miles an hour. Myrtle Beach starts to get around 50 miles an hour. As you push through around 6 o'clock on Wednesday, again, if this was to happen, 45, 50 mile per hour wind still does continue. Even 40 miles an hour up there near Sumter and Florence, Myrtle Beach start to receive 50 miles an hour or so. 8 o'clock, winds start to get even stronger as it again tries to push through. Here's what 11 o'clock could look like. 11 o'clock, 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts does start. And the winds calm down over here inside of the western South Carolina regions, but still does continue over here for eastern South Carolina. Let's move into like 2 o'clock in the morning. We're starting to see 70 mile per hour wind gusts, 60 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts inside of Myrtle Beach as we move into Thursday. Let's move into around 6 o'clock in the morning. We're getting gusts of up to 80 miles an hour inside of Myrtle Beach on Thursday, if this was to, again, occur. If we go to around 11 o'clock in the morning, we're starting to see, well, actually, we're going to go to 8 o'clock in the morning. We're starting to see gusts of up to 90 to 100 miles an hour into the North Carolina, South Carolina border, just to the south of Wilmington. Wilmington, 60 to 70 miles per hour. So again, Myrtle Beach, again, I'd be especially watching if I'm inside Myrtle Beach, because this could be a strong storm. I mean, we can have winds all the way like in the Conway, Loris region around 74 to 80 miles an hour. That's just how far inland these winds can go. But again, this can all change. This, again, does not have to happen. If we just switch over to the GFS, I mean, you can obviously see, I don't know what happened with the colors, but still gusts of up to 30 to 40 miles an hour near the Charleston regions as we move through. And I mean, just we're just gonna have to wait a little while just to see what happens in terms of just winds. But I especially be watching if I was inside the Myrtle Beach region, because that situation or that scenario is the worst case scenario, if anything. But that's all that I have in terms of this morning. It was a very long forecast update this morning, but when there's a lot to talk about, we have to get everything in. So hopefully everyone has a fantastic rest of your Monday. Make sure that you guys stay safe, and make sure that if you have not started preparing already, please do that. Because you probably do not have that much longer left to prepare if you need to, especially inside like Myrtle Beach regions and the Charleston regions as well. So everyone have a fantastic rest of your Monday. I will be back tonight, 9 o'clock.